So in this section of off-grid homesteading, we're talking about livestock and whether to have cows or goats for milking. This family decided to get goats for several reasons, which I'll cover in this video. You'll find that having Nubian goats is very doable and practical if you want to be able to have fresh milk every day. Let's go take a look at his livestock and how he cares and milks the goats. This is pasteurized goat's milk that they keep for their kids, and then they will feed it back to the goats so they get their nutrition. So here he's putting the pasteurized goat's milk into a container which we'll take out to the goats because we're going to go feed and milk them right now. Here we're feeding the male goats. They keep the male goats separate from the female goats in order to keep the milk tasting good. The male goats have a strong odor to them, and by keeping them separate, the milk has better flavor and there isn't as much smell. So the goats know it's feeding time now. And what we've done is we've brought the milk from the container from the kitchen and put it in this great little, looks like a 4-gallon bucket, and you've got milking nipples on here, and they'll suck the nipples and get the milk out. Great little device. So this is pasteurized milk from all the mothers over here, and we pasteurize it so that they don't get sick, any bacteria. But they are going to town on the milk. We've got one guy that's kind of not 100%, so we getting a little medication here. Having livestock is a lot of work, but there's a lot of rewards from it also. In addition to the milk, the kids also get some alfalfa. And so they'll have the milk for about another month or so, and then they'll get weaned off the milk and be strictly on the alfalfa hay. They get the milk for about 5 months. They seem to be as excited about the alfalfa as they are about the milk. So these guys are doing good. In addition to feeding them the grains, it also feeds them sprouted whole oats. And this is a great nutritional benefit to them because when an animal eats typical grains, 20% of the nutrition stays inside and 80% comes out the back end. On the converse, if you give them sprouted grains, 80% of the nutrition is used by the animal and only 20% is lost. And the system here is great. He's got an automated system where he will soak the grains overnight in a bucket, then spread them out through these little containers here, and then every so many hours they'll get watered for 1 minute. The water will run down, run off, recirculate, and keep on growing the greens. You can see he's got great, luscious, healthy looking greens here. And for lighting, he uses T5 lamps above them. And to keep this room nice and warm, he uses the Eden Pure quartz infrared portable heater. He's had several that he's tested, and without any hesitation, he says that the Eden Pure is by far the best heater, and it only uses 700 watts. They really like the sprouted oats. They get on that with no hesitation at all. The mother goats know it's time for milking, and they're excited to go in and get milk. They do get a treat if they are well behaved. If you've never seen milking done, this is a treat to see how it's done. It's not how you think it would be, but you have to kind of close off the back part of the nipple, get the milk trapped in it, and then squeeze down the nipple to squeeze the milk out and start the process again. They've selected the Nubian goats because they have a high butterfat content in the milk. And because they feed them alfalfa, the milk is very sweet. I tasted it earlier, and I would be hard-pressed to know the difference between cow's milk and this Nubian goat milk because of the feed. If you've ever had free-range goat milk or free-range goat cheese, it has a very sharp flavor to it. This is very sweet. Each goat provides about half a gallon of milk per day, and they get milk twice a day. The Nubian goats are bred for the milking capabilities, and the advantage of having goats over cows is that they will only eat 1/3 of the amount of feed of a cow, but they will produce 2/3 of the amount of milk. They're also very intelligent, and very docile. So when you're considering to have livestock for milk production, keep the amount of acreage you need to have in mind, the amount of grain that and feed you need to have on hand, and the amount of milk production. It's always a cost per benefit ratio. So for this family, the Nubian goat was the best answer for the amount of acreage they have and the cost of feed and care. Master milker here, let me give it a try. After about several minutes, I got about a tablespoon out. What was quite surprising was how warm the goat is. It's cold here. I got 4 or 5 layers of clothing on, and the goat is actually very warm, even though they're outside in a shelter. And especially her udder was nice and warm. So I'm sure this is great warm milk coming out. We have some nice fresh goat's milk. You can see it's kind of thick because of all the butter fat in it. It looks wonderful. And now we're putting it back into the same bucket we had brought the original milk out for the kids, and it's going through a filter. So it's getting pre-filtered, and then they'll go in and pasteurize it. So now that we're done collecting the milk, it's time to clean up and process the milk. They'll take this milk here and they will heat it up to 145 degrees for 30 minutes. Then they'll quick chill it. That'll pasteurize the milk so they can give it back to the kids so they don't get any diseases, and it's good for human consumption. With 6 nannies, this is milk from the last 2.5 days here. That's quite a bit of milk. So you can see, if you're a small family, you don't need very many goats. If you're homesteading and you're working with a group of people, to give you an idea of how much milk you can produce, he's collecting about 3.5 gallons a day from 6 goats. So that wraps up our visit with the goats today. We're back with the male goats. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. And if you want fresh milk on your off-grid homestead, you might consider having Nubian goats to give you delicious farm fresh milk.